All right, what up, y'all? So, wherever I left off, this had a coolant leak. I believe it's fixed now. I think what it ended up being was this crossover, this pipe right here, goes over, comes down. It's like two inlets under this. So, and then I wasn't sure, but it's you can't see nothing on here. But the back side of this water pump, I'll show you a picture of it. It's got a little hose thing that connects into another little intercooler thing on top of the engine. So I swapped that part out, put new gaskets on that. This swapped out. This whole thing has to come off, so I'll show y'all what it looked like when I took everything off. But that's got to come off in order to get the intake off. Fuel line's got to come off. So 10 millimeter bolts right here, or these might be 8s right there. Fuel line right there, that's a 17. Another one right here. Be careful when you undo these because it's going to shoot a lot of gas out. So wrap it up with a towel or something before you pop that loose, because it's going to spray gas out for a second. But once you get those off, intake has to move sideways or that way. This hose, you slide that out the way. It is 2 plugs in the back. This plug right there. So I unplugged that, which I'm not sure if I needed to or not, but I did. On the back side of this, it's another plug that's kind of on the back. Unplug that, and then this connects on the back. You can leave that there and just unhook it here, so that whole line will come off with it. And yeah, this comes off. This plug, this comes off. I think that's about it. Throttle body's got to come off. It's a coolant hose on this side of the throttle body. There's another one on that side of it. Both of those come loose, which one hooks up to this. Get those out. Plug right here for that. Get all of that out. Once this is up, then it'll be, that little tube is right there. So I'll switch y'all back to what it looked like once all of this is off. Alright, so here we are. This is with the intake manifold off. This is the hose part I was talking about, that the 2 little inlets. Those were actually broken, so like the end pieces of it were broken in there. So that's where my leak was coming from. So that's the intake manifold off. Probably need to change the gaskets in that. But yeah, this is that piece once I took it off. You can see the ends are broken. It's like maybe like a 1/4 inch of the hose that's not connected right there, or the tube, which is, this is the piece right here that was actually broken and sitting in there. So it's got the gasket on it, but that's where my leak was coming from. So it's 3 bolts to get that off. They are Torx bolts, I think like a Torx T30, but yeah, they sit right in there. And make sure you clean that out real good before you put the new one in. And this is after, so it's a bolt straight forward right here, T30, and then each side of the tube has got a T30 bolt. So it's one on the left, one on the right. I didn't put any blue gasket maker on it that time, the first time I did it, but I just went back and redid it before I made this video again yesterday. So it shouldn't leak anymore. It's pretty good right now. But this is intake manifold back on, throttle body still off. That's that hose right there at the bottom that connects into the throttle body. Yeah. Alright, so this is after everything. So far, I don't see any leaks, but what's weird is it ran fine. And it did this last year when I got another leak fixed at the dealership. And it kind of went away after a couple of days, maybe a week. So it might do the same. But runs fine for about 10 to 15 minutes as far as driving it. I'll crank it up now. Alright, but it ran fine for about 10, like I said, 10 or 15 minutes driving it around. And then I ended up getting this light, this restricted performance light, and it kind of sputtered a little bit. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. But again, last year when I had another coolant leak and they fixed that, after I got it back, like that next week, it started doing the same thing. Well, a couple of days after I got it back. But after about a week, it stopped doing it. So not sure what the issue is right now. I don't know if it's maybe it's a vacuum leak causing it. Like, could be the intake manifold gasket's not holding up real good. But yeah, so it'll run fine for about 15 minutes or so driving around, and then it'll get that restricted performance light and kind of sputter a little bit. So I brought it back here. But yeah, the leak so far is fixed. I hadn't seen anything leaking out, hadn't done anything weird. Temp's been staying in the right spot, so that's the plus side. But next up is to figure out either what that restrictive performance light is, or if it'll just go away. But that's where I'm at. If y'all know something about that part, let me know. And yeah, I will be back one way or another, whether I figure out what it is or not. So yeah. And yeah, kind of miss driving this car. But yeah, I'll be back.